Hey, it's Mike Delvisco back with you here. Another great episode of the Outdoor Showcase, and we are back. Seems like these months are just flying by. We are getting really close to showtime at the East Tennessee Fishing Show coming up first in January, and then the Alabama Fishing Expo in March. And we are continuing to highlight different vendors and tackle companies and custom lure manufacturers and everything that makes the East Tennessee Fishing Show great. We are highlighting them here on the Outdoor Showcase. And don't forget that if you've got an Amazon or a Roku device, you can go ahead and download that Outdoor Showcase channel right onto your device and watch it 24/7. This episode will appear shortly after it airs on social media, and you can click on it and watch every single episode from day one to present and 24/7 as long as you want to watch the Outdoor Showcase. So without any further ado, we have Jeff from Trollgadda, who has some extremely cool baits that I can't wait for you guys to see.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for the great introduction. Super excited to be part of both the Eastern Tennessee show and the upcoming Alabama show. Pleasure to be on here with you.
Awesome. So one of the things that I'm excited about, one of the things actually I'm excited about your lures, but I really want to understand how you got the name Trollgadda.
Yeah, so big part of my company is about telling stories. Trollgadda is actually some folklore from Sweden, where they had huge pike out there, muskies, and the legends say they would grow so big they would start growing trees out of their head. And I thought that was a really cool story that we could tell, especially since I'm making wooden lures. Not a lot of guys out there really doing that anymore,
Right.
especially made in America in small batches. So I thought it was a cool tie into the storytelling and with the trees and the wood and these big freshwater predator fish we're all so excited to go out and catch. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So yes, let's see. I've got one that really intrigues me here is the slick nose goblin.
Yeah.
It's a really cool looking bait.
Thank you. Yeah. As I was kind of starting out, I was pulling a lot of inspiration from, like I said, the lures of the past. When I was growing up as a kid, my grandfather had a bait room down in the basement. And every time we'd go over there as kids, he would pull out a new lure. And a lot of these were even old back then. We're talking about lures from the 30s, 20s, 30s, and 40s. So,
Right.
And he would give them to us, and we'd go out and we'd use them, and I just thought they were always so iconic looking, the glass eyes and the metal lips. And I just wanted to try and bring something like that back. Everything has gone overseas. It's injection molded plastic, and there's just something nostalgic and powerful about making something here in America out of wood, metal, and glass. So
Yeah, that's really cool.
thank you. Yeah.
The last company that I actually remember that made anything out of wood was the old Radke. He was from up in Illinois, and he made trolling lures for pike and muskie. And you may have heard of him. You may not have heard that the only place you ever saw this guy was at a couple of trade shows, each year. He'd have his big metal tub out, and he'd be running the bait along the tub, and you'd see it swimming along. And he'd have his same spiel. I think he could do it in his sleep, but I remember seeing him for years and years, and they were wooden plugs.
And that's a cool thing. There was, you look back at American history as far as lure manufacturers, and before everything kind of got so big and just moved overseas, there was a bunch of these little local regional bait makers, and they did it for the passion of going out there and making these lures and catching these fish. And I want to start bringing some of that home, some of that back here, some of that history of what we used to do here and get people excited about it again. I mean, we're in such a throwaway culture nowadays. It's nice to have something that you could feel proud of, pass it along to your kids, something that's going to last. It's not something you just buy once and throw it away. It's something that you feel good about or even display.
50 years ago, 50 years from now, they may be pulling one of your baits out of their tackle box and go, hey.
Man, I sure hope so. That'd be the biggest honor I could ever think.
Yeah. So let's see a few.
Yeah. So I'll start off since you were talking about the goblin here. This is one of the first lures that I kind of started out making. It's kind of got that gar-like pattern. As you can see, structural metal lip. It's not tunable, but it's made to dive about 2 to 4 feet down and just kind of wiggle back and forth. This is a bluegill pattern, really inspired by the old time, lure patterns that you would have seen back in the 50s. And I also use authentic real glass eyes like they used to too. So I turn all the bodies on the lathe. Everything starts out as a block of wood like this. And I mean, there's honestly probably about 50 processes to get to this point, but quite a few, lots of sanding, lots of sealing, painting. I hand make all the eye ties, all the lips. This is all my packaging, all of my raw materials I try and source out of the U.S. The only thing that I'm not currently sourcing out of the U.S. is the hooks, and I use Japanese owner hooks because they're just such a good quality. So yeah, that's a stick nose goblin, and this comes in a as a plug, a single plug, and I also have an articulated version that will be available at both the Tennessee and Alabama show in a variety of different colors. So
super cool. What is what's the overall length of that bait?
Overall length of the goblin, I believe, is 4.5 inches.
Okay. So even though you're, maybe attracting pike or muskie, bass guys can fish with those as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of my lures are going to be, you could use to target all the big freshwater predator fish. I mean, smallies, largemouth, striper, all of that stuff. Big lures catch big fish. Our grandfathers used to catch big fish on these things, and I've caught quite a few big bass on these as well. So it's not just a musky lure. It's not just a pike lure. These are great for smallmouth, largemouth, striper, all up and down the line.
Awesome.
So, and, I just kind of want to show and shout out, we got these really cool old school boxes made like they used to. So you could display them and feel good about, doing that. And these are printed in America too. So, just something to kind of add to that nostalgic feel that, people look for when they're doing something like this,
That's cool.
Should I jump onto another lure?
Sure, go right ahead.
Excellent. So next up is my square nose crankle. So this is a fixed square lip crankbait. This one's articulated, and this is in I believe my gold striped shad pattern. So a lot of the guys are using these for striper and everything like that. But depending on, guys troll with these too, but depending on the speed that you're pulling these things in, they could dive 10, 15 feet, or you could kind of play them higher in the water column. So you could there's quite a bit. All of these rest at, float at rest and then dive on retrieve. So yeah. And like I said on this one, I do have red glass eyes. I thought this one looked great in that. Very old school plug style pattern. My little Lure mark is actually on the inside to show that it's a Trollgadda lure. But yeah, I mean, this is one that I've worked on a lot over the past year, and I've seen really great success, especially with smallies over the summer and spring, in the local waters around Eastern Tennessee. I'm in Western North Carolina,
Okay.
so not too far from you.
French Broad and all that stuff coming down through there, like it flows into Douglas where I live. And
oh yeah, and I mean, I haven't got a chance to fish Douglas a whole lot, but I mean, obviously, great fishing waters. I hear the Bassmasters was there last year, so yeah. So that's the Crankle, and then just jumping on to like the thing that I've been really excited about, and that is my topwater. My topwater frog. So my grandfather gave me a pawpaw water frog from way back in the day. And I always love the look and the feel of that lure. There's nothing better than catching a bass top water and just seeing, fish explode out and grab these lures and just kind of explode out of the water. And no one was really doing anything like this anymore. I got the double articulating legs in the back here and then the belly hook. This thing is just obnoxious on the top water. Once you kind of get this thing going, these back legs just click together, really loud action. You could obviously bend this lip down to 90 to make it just go wild, or bend the lip up a little bit to get, 6 inches under the water if you're trying to target that. But again, very old style type of lure. I'm using glass eyes. All these spots I hand paint on there. So it's a lot of dedication and love to make something like this, but it's just a phenomenal, fun lure to fish,
Yeah.
And
how long does it take to make one?
Oh my gosh. I do them in batches, so that's a little hard to tell, but they do take quite a bit of time. I mean, this, especially just hand painting all of this. I mean, the legs are turned on the lathe, and then the whole body is hand carved. I actually have, so every, like I was showing, everything starts out as a block of wood like this. Then I cut it down into a free form like this on the bandsaw. And then I start the carving process from there. So kind of smoothing out the edges, drilling the hole in the eyes, actually carving out the lip for the slot or the lip slot, and then just hand sanding all of this. I eventually placed the belly weights to keep everything kind of floating as it should. And then, seal these things a million times, paint them, get all the hardware put on them, and, sealed again. So it's a labor of love, that's for sure.
So is this going to be your first time at the East Tennessee show?
It is, and I'm very excited.
You're going to need to get building some of these things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm super excited. That's actually what I've been spending a majority of my time on, leading up to shows. I mean, I have quite a few shows. As we all know, the big expos all come in spring, and I'm super excited to be part of the Tennessee show and both the Alabama show. First time for that show, so I think it's a really great opportunity for the folks down in Alabama to kind of see what we're doing, since apparently they haven't had a fishing show out there in a long time. So
no, it's going to be a great venue. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward. Knew that was going to happen. So I'm going to try to edit that. I need to remember 1644. So we'll do trying to figure out how to pick up here where we left off. So we were talking I'll just kind of lead you right back into that question.
Sure.
So is this going to be your first time at the East Tennessee Fishing Show?
Yeah, it is. And I'm actually super excited to be a part of it. I know you guys have been putting on a great show for many years over there, and I'm starting a new show in Alabama. So I'm also going to be a part of that, and really excited to get to see all the folks out there in Alabama and get them some great wooden fishing lures for fishing those waters out there. So
Yeah, that's going to be an awesome event. I'm really looking forward to that. And, for the longest time, Alabama really needed a fishing show. And I can't wait for us to, take Sheila's concept of the East Tennessee Fishing Show, that probably the greatest fishing show, pure fishing show for custom tackle manufacturers, and you fit right in.
thank you.
It's going to be, I think you're going to do real well. People are going to be really receptive of your baits, and should be a great, great time. You're going to do real well. If people want to find out more before then, how do they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously leading into the holiday time, and I've been nonstop making baits for the upcoming shows, but you could reach me at trollgadda.com. That's just www.trollgadda.com. You could see the text down at the below there. I'm sure they'll throw a link up there for you.
We'll have producer Ray put it in the comments section like he does everything else, so that they can just click and find you and check out all your stuff. Your website's really cool as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I also have a Facebook profile, and then I'm on Instagram as well. So you could find me there. You could also find me at trollgadda@gmail.com if you wanted to reach out, if you needed anything prior to the upcoming shows. So
awesome. Sounds good. Anything else? We're getting ready for a quick commercial break, but
yeah, I just want to say thank you. Thank you, everybody out there. Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate your time today. Very much looking forward to meeting you all out at the Tennessee and the Alabama show. And hope to see you guys out there and tell you a little bit more about what I'm doing and go from there.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Jeff. Great story, great baits. I like to see more of that. We need to bring back, I'm a big history buff with fishing. I've been around it for over 40 years, so I can relate to a lot of things you're saying. It's a great thing you're doing.
Thank you. Trying to keep that old American tradition alive. So appreciate that.
Go. All right.
We'll
be right back. Outdoor Showcase, right back after these commercial words.
Catch the best in outdoor products every month on the Outdoor Showcase. Hosts Sheila Bunch and Mike Del Visco bring you new, unique, and awesome products for the outdoors, featuring guests and segments. Whether you fish, boat, camp, or just love the outdoors, there's always something for everyone. We are live the last Thursday of every month, available on Fire TV and Roku. For more info or to have your products showcased, visit theoutdoorshowcase.com. We'll see you in the great outdoors.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Outdoor Showcase. I'm Mike Del Visco, and it's hard to believe that it's almost Thanksgiving. And that doesn't leave us a whole lot of time between now and the East Tennessee Fishing Show, which will be the end of January, and then the upcoming Alabama Expo in Gadsden, our new venture in March. So this year is just flying by. I know this will be our last November show. And then we've got, I think, 3 or maybe even 4 for December, because December's got 5 weeks in it. So we're going to keep piling them on and highlighting guests that are in either one or both shows. And we got a newcomer to actually both of them shows here this year. We got Eric from Yolo Bait Company, all the way out from Guntersville, Alabama. A guy that I've been wanting to talk with for a while, and we'll see what he's got cooking, no pun intended, over there in the looks like you're in the shop right now, hard at work pouring some baits.
Absolutely. We're here. Thanks for having us, Mike. We appreciate it.
Yeah. So what's first of all, how's the bite out there at Guntersville? I heard it's been pretty good lately.
It's picked up over the last 6-8 weeks. It's gotten a lot better. It'd been pretty slow for a while there, but the weights are coming back. There's a ton of schooling fish out there. If you like to flip grass, this is the time to do it.
Yeah. And that's right in your wheelhouse for what you make. You make custom soft plastic baits.
Absolutely, absolutely. So again, my name is Eric, Yolo Bait Co. I do this with my wife, and I got one buddy of mine. We call him Moon Pie. He helps out a lot and around the shop, does a lot of bagging and that kind of stuff for us. And he's a great asset to us because he works for baits only, so we don't even have to pay the guy. It's awesome.
Pretty good.
So absolutely. So something that sets us apart is the fact that everything we do here is handmade. It's custom made by hand. We do purchase raw plastic material, but it's a proprietary blend that I had made up for me, and it's a very strong plastic, but it's still a very durable plastic as well. But it's also very flexible too. So our customers really like the longevity they get out of each bait. So we're doing well. All is good.
Yeah. And especially being down there in the bass capital of the world, Guntersville, you're in a great place to make some great baits.
Yeah, it's a great place to live too. We like it out here a lot. We moved here from Sam Rayburn,
Okay.
Absolutely.
I was down in Tyler about 5 days ago.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, another great lake where they like eating some plastic baits.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what's your hot deal right now? What are you pouring the most of?
Right now we're pouring mostly some new molds we got. We've got a new lizard mold that's out. That's a 6-inch lizard that we came out with. It's got a really cool tail action on it. I don't know if you can see that. Those are some of our basic colors. That's a green pumpkin and a watermelon green color there. We're making a lot of those right now just to build inventory. But we're shooting 4 or 5 days a week out here. We got that one. I got several I can go through here with you.
Yeah, sure. Go right ahead.
Yeah. So this is our little paddle tail swim bait. We call it a shiver shad. It's 3 3/4 inches. This color here is what we call Ala Bourbon. It's a bourbon color. Of course, green pumpkin. That's a good one for us called Spring Creek. We have a 4.2-inch flatworm. That's in a color we call Nunya. That's a deep dark purple with a chartreuse belly on it. Go ahead, Mike. I heard you talking.
Yeah, it's a cool looking color right there.
Absolutely. I got an array here, but man, y'all come out and see them. We have a good time. Like I said, these plastics are super subtle, super limber. You can see the shake in that. That's a Magnum finesse worm and you can see the fall of that thing, for sure. Some other things I wouldn't mind talking to you about. You know, we run 12 profiles of baits and got about 25 stock colors. But one of the big things that we still do here at Yolo is we still do a lot of custom work. And so whether that's taking an existing color that's been discontinued from somebody, or somebody's just flat out creation that they can come up with out of their head or out of a magazine or whatever the case may be, we still do a ton of those kind of things here. We do have a small pro staff here at Yolo Bait Co. We love working with middle schoolers and high schoolers, but we work with anybody that's on social media that wants to promote us a little bit. Tuesday nights, 6 o'clock Central, we actually do a live Facebook stream where we're actually out here making baits live and interacting with customers and pro staffers and all of those kind of things. So that's something really to check out on Facebook with us. But man, we're excited. We're looking forward to coming to East Tennessee and checking all that out.
That's such a great idea, doing some Facebook Live when you're actually working too. Why not have a little fun with it? And I see you get great numbers, people sharing stuff, commenting, tons of views, and it's a great way to spur some sales on something that, hey, a guy sees you pouring something, and there you go.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. It's a good time. My wife's out here; she talks a lot, which is good. Kind of keeps things from getting stale because when I'm out here doing this, I have to concentrate just a little bit, just because this stuff's so hot.
Yeah.
I've burned myself more than once, but we have a good time with it for sure.
And you're going to be at both the East Tennessee Fishing Show. Is that going to be your first year for that show?
Yes, absolutely. First year. We talked to you guys about it last year, but we got in a little bit too late from a timing standpoint to get everything together. But yeah, this is the first one. I mean, we've done some other shows outside of y'all's as well, but mostly been local stuff and spring flings and Christmas fest and those kind of things, which are great. But a lot of times it's the wrong audience. But we've done really well at them anyway.
Well, I guarantee you that the East Tennessee Fishing Show will not be the wrong audience. You better keep pouring from now until January, because it's the craziest bass fishing show that I've ever been to.
That's great.
And of course you saw, and you're going to be in the Alabama Fishing Show and Expo too in Gadsden. I'm really excited for that. I think that Alabama really needed, a decent fishing show where, guys like yourself, the true custom tackle manufacturers, all get together and get to display and sell their stuff.
Yeah, that's good for everybody. That's good for local economy. That's good for us. That's just good. That's good all around. It's good for the consumer too. A lot of this stuff is hidden away in a lot of cases, and it doesn't get the exposure that's needed, which is unfortunate for the consumer. And, that's the exciting part of it for me. Is the best part about this is getting that text message with a big fish that they just caught on one of your baits. So
yeah, exactly. So that time of year, in East Tennessee, drop shot baits and little finesse baits and worms and stuff, that's kind of like the deal, because the water's cold. Guys are smallmouth fishing, Douglas and Cherokee and all these other East Tennessee lakes. You're going to have plenty of that stuff.
Absolutely. We got some great stuff for smallmouth and finesse style baits. That's what we call a Y-Crawl Junior. We got a bigger version of it too. That's a great cold water smallmouth bait right there. Of course, we got these drop shot flatworms. We got two little finesse worms that are really good. This one, we call this one our little wee willie. It's 3 different colors there. And then this one, we've been pretty excited about this. We've been kind of waiting for this time of year for this, but this is a 5 1/4 inch Swift Seduction worm. Man, it is super thin. You can tell that by the size of my finger, how small that is. And man, that thing just kind of sits in the water and quivers on its own. I mean, it's pretty neat to watch. And we put that mold into play right at the end of the last cold weather, and so we got it out in a few hands, but not very many. But we sure had a good reaction from the guys that were fishing with it. So we're excited to see what that one does in the upcoming months. So.
That should be good. We get people from all over the country coming to East Tennessee. I'm sure it'll be the same for the Alabama show. And I think you'll do great. We need more. We have a lot of plug makers, crankbaits and lipless stuff and jerk baits and custom painters. But we don't have a tremendous amount of, custom plastics guys like yourself. So I think that's going to end up doing real well.
Well, good. That's what we're planning for.
Cool.
Shooting a lot of baits.
Yeah. If people want to find you before they get to the East Tennessee show or the Alabama show, find out what you've got, check out your Facebook Lives on usually almost every Tuesday night, unless you're traveling somewhere. Where do they go find you?
YoloBaitCo.com. You can find us on Facebook, Yolo Bait Co, and we're on Instagram a little bit. That's a little out of my wheelhouse, but we're trying to work with that one a little bit. I'll be honest with you, I don't quite understand it, but we're trying. But those are the 3 options. You're always welcome to reach out to me, and through the Facebook page. My phone number is all over. That's my cell phone. It's on me. We answer it 99% of the time, and if we don't, we're gonna get back to you pretty quick. So
awesome.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having us, man. This has been a good time.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Can't wait to come visit with you guys, and I'll certainly be a customer.
Good.
Yeah. Always need a few new things to go fish with.
That's right. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, check them out. Yolo Bait Co on Facebook, Instagram, website too.
YoloBaitCo.com.
YoloBaitCo.com. Very easy. Eric, thanks so much for being with us. We are up against a short commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be right back with the Outdoor Showcase.
Thank you, Mike.
Catch the best in outdoor products every month on the Outdoor Showcase. Hosts Shelia Bunch and Mike Del Visco bring you new, unique, and awesome products for the outdoors, featuring guests and segments. Whether you fish, boat, camp, or just love the outdoors, there's always something for everyone. We are live the last Thursday of every month, available on Fire TV and Roku. For more info or to have your product showcased, visit theoutdoorshowcase.com. We'll see you in the great outdoors.
Hey, Mike Del Visco back with you here, Outdoor Showcase, and we are up to our last segment of the evening. And don't forget, as always, if you want to watch any past episode of the Outdoor Showcase, and you've got Amazon or Roku, simply just go on to either one of those devices, download our channel app, and you can watch 24/7 all past episodes from day one to present. This episode will appear there shortly after it airs live on social media, so can't be any easier than that. Download it, watch it. And right now we got my buddy, who I've not physically seen him for a while, but we've talked on the phone quite a bit, and through the magic of media, we got each other here on each side of the screen. Dano, I've known you for an awful long time in multiple different facets of things that you do in the fishing industry. You're a legend. You've been doing this stuff forever. I think the first time that I ever met you might have been a Bassmaster University event that I was speaking in 100 years ago, someplace traveling around the country. But great to have you on here and talk about Bucks Island, who's going to be one of our featured exhibitors there at the Alabama Fishing Show and Expo coming up here in March. And we'll chat about other things you got going on too.
Well, Mike, as always, we appreciate being included in something like this from everybody here at the Bucks Island family. Having a show here in Gadsden at our venue, and with a show that's the quality of what you and Shelia put together with that East Tennessee Fishing Show, which is, in my opinion, and I've seen a million of them across the country, it's the best fishing only show that I've seen outside of a Bassmaster Classic. I'll be 100% honest with you. It's an amazing place to be, and I look forward to it every year. Yeah. I do have to take, a little bit of umbrage with something, though, is it hasn't been that long. I know I've got the white beard going here, but actually the first place that we met was when I worked for the PAA, when you were a PAA pro.
Yeah.
Right before that, we were involved in all of that TV show starting up. And I have respected you for a long time. You've been with Partners forever. You're a tremendous, tremendous representative of all the people that you work with. You're really good at what you do, and I respect you a ton, and know that when you're involved in something like this, it means something.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm really looking forward. Sheila and I have been talking about doing another show somewhere, and I don't have, my role is fairly small. I work with all the seminar guys because I know them all, and do seminars at the show too, and help Sheila out, but with some of the media and MC the events and stuff. She's really, to think about what she's done in Knoxville in, I guess, 10 or 12 years, pretty phenomenal that it's turned into the show that it has. It's always been great, but yeah, it is like you said, the biggest collection of probably custom tackle manufacturers that there is. I don't know of another show that, and I speak at a ton of them too. I don't see, some of these vendors come to this show only, and it's like, this is their whole year. They bank their whole year on the show, and it works out really good for them.
Well, it's funny, I moved here from California in 2014 to, the Gadsden, Alabama area, and I'm still there. I'm in Southside, where Bucks Island is at. But when I moved here, I had 2 balsa baits, 2 Strike King custom shop flat sides that were sent to me by accident in an order, which were made at the time by PH Custom Lures. But now I have 3 or 4 boxes of flat sides that are probably worth close to $1,000 a piece. Because once you get here and you start realizing what you need to be able to do with those flat sides and just balsa baits in general, we didn't really have too many areas that you could do that with in California. And now it's one of the things that I make sure is in the boat pretty much year round. And that show is an amazing place to look at some of that stuff. And I have myself bought a few there when I've gone there to work. And my wife always gets upset with me because I go to work and I'm spending money. I mean, how does that work?
Yeah.
But I believe in supporting the community, and that's what it is. I'm investing in my community. I'm trying to make sure it's all altruistic, and that's what it's for. Right.
Yeah. I remember one year, Scroggins and Grigsby, who are usually there at the show all the time.
Yeah.
And Terry cannot resist buying baits when he's there. Jaw Jacker, who's one of the premier, Rob Cochran, one of the premier balsa bait makers that there is anywhere, not just Tennessee. And Shaw used to always go up there and says, "I see what you got hanging up here on the wall, but I want to see what's under the table." and Rob would pull stuff out, and both Shaw and Terry would have bags and bags full of lures, walking out of that show. But it's a great venue, and I can't wait to bring it to Gadsden. Getting back to my earlier statement, Sheila and I were talking about, it just came up in conversation. What do you think about doing another show? Well, where do we do it? We wanted to do something that was 3 to 4 hours away from Knoxville, something similar in geographics, lakes around, great bass fishing community. And it ended up being from Hugh Stump there in Greater Gadsden Tourism says, "Hey, we have a brand new facility here at the venue." Excuse me. And I went and looked at it last October, and of course I'd fished multiple events there before.
Oh yeah.
Great place to have
you filmed here before too, if I remember right.
Yes. Yeah. We had a PAA tour event there years ago too. Done tons of filming there. It's just it's one of my favorite lakes. I almost moved there too, and I can't wait to go back.
My wife and I and the kids, we love it here. We've made family here. The people at Bucks Island have become family. My marketing partner here, Michael Wildman at Bucks Island, has become a very good friend and someone that and Bucks Island invested in this to be able to be a big part of it. Obviously, it's a business move as well, but it's also supporting of the community. And, Tony Lumpkin, who was a VP of sales at marketing at Mercury, who came back to take over this business from his dad, Buck, when it was time. Tony tells a story about, "Dad, how did you learn your business sense? You only graduated from the 6th grade." And his dad looked at his son and said, "Son, I learned it in Sunday school." And he said, "Where do you learn business in Sunday school?" He said, "I learned that if you always treat people the way that you want to be treated, you'll never have a shortage of customers." And so investing in the fishing community by being a part of this event and help use our resources that we've worked hard to as a team to be able to develop for our own use to help promote this show. That's what we're going to do. So that's part of the reason why we're invested so heavily into it. That's what it is. That's why we're doing it. We're looking forward to seeing the community. We're going to show off our wares. We'll have our Skeeter, Falcon, and Bass Cat boats there, and we're going to have a full tackle with some kayak in the retail section over there as well. So we've maxed out our booth space, and that's what we're going to try to do.
Awesome. I think that's important too, having the tackle in there too, and the kayaks, because it seems like the last probably 2 or 3 years at East Tennessee, the kayak fishing has exploded. Of course, I'm sure you see it there.
It's massive.
How many people get into it and are going to get into it. I even bought kayaks this year. So and if I'm buying kayaks, that I'm on board too. So
I hear you. I got a quick funny, you brought up Terry Scroggins. I got a funny Terry Scroggins story for you that Terry talking about being a bait junkie and stuff. One of the first times I got to be around Terry after meeting him at covering elite events, but I was at him at a little bit of an extended length and being at California, before the Elite Series came out there in 2007, a lot of those guys would sign up to work a show much like this show, do seminars and appearances at sponsors so that they could dovetail it with going to practice on Clear Lake or at the Delta where they were going to be. And if you know California, you know the name Bobby Barrick, you know the brand Snag Proof. Bobby Barrick is the frog master. He's a dear friend. He's been here. He makes an amazing frog, and the West knows it. They love it. But if you've ever been around pro fishing, what's probably the top frog that ever really got really adopted was the Spro bronze-eye frog that Dean Rojas was behind in the company at Spro. Well, the West Coast had its, we didn't like the hook gap. We didn't like the way that the thing worked. And you guys gathered around Terry, who was also standing there with Russ Lane at the time, who traveled with him. And they were all giving their, oh man, that's Spro, the gap, the bad is, it's too narrow. You can't get enough. There's not enough hook gap. It just, it doesn't, it's too hard. It's not. And Terry being Terry looked at him and goes, you know what? You're right. That is too hard. And I don't like that hook gap either. In fact, that frog only does one thing well. You know what that is? They said, what? They should catch his big fish. Other than that, it's a really big piece of crap. And Terry just has a way of making everybody go, okay. But you brought up Terry Scroggins. That's one of my favorite Scroggins stories. And I think only one writer saw it, and it was me. So I get to remember that one and share that story. It was funny.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Maybe we can get him to come to Alabama too. I'm still working. I'm kind of working my way towards Alabama. We're kind of finalizing our speakers now that we know schedules with, who's coming to Tennessee. And the cool thing about Tennessee show is that people just show up. I know who, usually who my speakers will be. And, of course, being a multi-species event, I've got to have catfish guys, striper guys, crappie guys.
Absolutely.
I do the sonar stuff there. And then we've got, 4 or 5, bass guys that'll come in and do bass fishing seminars. But then, aside from those 5 guys, well, Fritz will show up and Scroggins will show up and Ott will show up. And, Edward Evers he just happened to be passing by Knoxville. He's going to stop in the show. So it's like all of a sudden there's like 20 or 30 tour guys that are just hanging around the show, hanging out at the booths, even if they're not doing seminars. And I suspect that a lot of it is going to be the same for Alabama too.
Yeah, I would think so. It's close enough to Guntersville. Unfortunately, it's right at the same time as the Red Crest show. So some of those guys that are in Red Crest won't be able to be there that week. And that's some, otherwise you might see a Justin Lucas or some of those guys that would show up to be able to be at the show like that, even if they weren't speaking. But some of those Tackle Warehouse Invitational guys, Bassmaster Opens guys, of course, the Elite Series guys, they'll be around as well. That I'm looking forward to seeing and just seeing how the public responds to them again. And I just know that show in Tennessee, it is without a doubt the best fishing show I've ever seen outside of a Bassmaster Classic. And I look forward to going to it every day. I really do.
Yeah.
And I guess I have to admit a little bit of selfishness to want to see Bucks Island in it, because I just want us to be there and be able to walk in that show and be able to do everything that I want to do as well and talk to the customers while we're doing it.
Yeah, you were one of the first ones, when we were going to have it there in Gadsden. You might have even been the first one that I called. And I didn't know your relationship with Bucks Island at the time. And then all of a sudden the next couple of days, okay, well, you guys were like first to get signed up for this thing. So I really appreciate that.
Oh, no, we love being first.
Yeah.
Because it means we've taken care of our customers. That's what it means.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we really, really, really are excited about this show.
Yeah. And the outside element too, that's going to be, something that's a little different for a show. I've been to, different events, out on the coast where, you have an in the water boat show and, like Charleston and Savannah and places like that. Wilmington comes to mind too, but
never mind Miami.
Yeah.
The Miami boat show.
I haven't been to that one, but
I haven't either,
but having the landing right there and what everybody in town did with the landing over the years, with that river walk and so close proximity to the venue now.
Well, and the great thing is let's say we all decide to do boat demos, whether it's the individual dealer or whether it's the show, you can come out of that venue, turn left and walk about 120 yards. And there's a ramp right there that takes you to the boardwalk where the boats can be tied up and a guy can go do his demos and never have to leave the 5 mile an hour, the no wake zone there of the bridges. You can just run down and turn around and run back.
Exactly. And don't have to worry about guys running up and down the river and stuff, creating wakes and, things like that. So that's something Sheila's still working out. I'm sure we'll have more information on that as we get as we get going. But just another exciting element. That's something that's possible for that venue.
And Gadsden is a great town with some really good restaurants, some great events to happen, and just experiences here in Gadsden. It's a small town, but Broad Street is excellent for food. We've got Blackstone Pub and Eatery. We've got the Rail Public House. We've got steakhouses there. We've got the Harp and Clover, which is an Irish pub. We've got Rock and Roll Sushi. For those of you guys that love sushi, it's one of my favorite sushi places in the country. And I don't eat fish unless it's sushi, so that's really good. Although Mike McClellan made me some walleye when we were up in Minnesota that I actually liked.
Yeah,
so,
it's pretty good.
That was a lot different than I expected. And there's no walleye around here, but there's good Mexican restaurants. I mean, it's a wonderful place to be.
Yeah. So. Quick story on Gadsden. The first time I think I ever went there, and you may remember this event, when Yamamoto started their own tournaments.
Oh yeah,
like Snag Proof Open and the Strike.
Yeah.
So Yamamoto did one.
I do remember that.
Back in the early '90s.
Yep.
It was a long time ago.
It was.
And they brought some of the. I was one of two guys in the whole country that was actually even on the Yamamoto team back then, because I didn't really have one.
Right.
And we did one at Gadsden. And I remember being there at the landing and going, man, it's like, where do you even go eat around? There was no restaurants. I think there was a fast food place a mile down the road. There was nothing there in that town. To see how it's grown.
Well, if you want to eat on the water, there's places to do that too. Down by the bridge, there's down by the bridges below, down in Southside, there's Little Bridge Marina. Now Blackstone Pub and Eatery has a dock over there. They've got a place. And then if you're hungry for breakfast while you're on the water, you can pull up to a Jack's and you can hit a button up on a walkway and you can order. They bring it out to you.
Yeah,
so
I've done that.
It's kind of a unique thing. I've done that for a video for Gadsden Area Tourism before it was ordered when I got up to the dock. I love this community. The people around here love this community. We're looking forward to showing it off.
Awesome. We're actually almost, these segments go by so fast.
Yeah.
And especially talking to somebody like yourself, who's just a wealth of information, it goes by even quicker. But
well, you know what they say, Mike, if you can't dazzle them with your knowledge, you have to baffle them with your BS. You pick which one I was doing.
Yeah, that's right. So, if people want to find out a little bit more, now you're going to have tackle, you're going to have kayaks, you're going to have boats there. So you're going to have everything.
Yes.
People want to check stuff out. What's the easiest way to go find Bucks Island?
BucksIsland.com. We have our used inventory, new inventory. We don't have parts listed there. We do have all of our service listed there, but you'll be able to look at our boat inventory. You can go from there, link to shopbucksisland.com, which is our retail space, which includes retail and some apparel and our loft tackle store inventory. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We've got a YouTube channel. We've done a lot that we believe in building the community. And so we've done a lot of social efforts towards being social. And that's kind of it's what we like to do. So I like to be a goofball at times. I've talked Michael into helping me make posts that you probably would never think what in the world is wrong with you? I've actually stood behind rods, made them look like jail cells, and said, I'm in tackle jail, and watched the owner's granddaughters just start laughing at me when they saw it. I believe in having fun, and I've got a team around that feels the same way. So you're going to find everything is social. We're going to give you the best information, the best service, the right attention, and you can find all that stuff at bucksisland.com and Bucks Island social media channels.
Awesome. Can't wait to see you in March. I'm going to have to probably come out, beforehand. There's going to be at least a couple of trips, out there checking the venue out, just doing stuff. I want to get out in the water and go shoot some things too. So I'm sure we'll have some opportunity there to actually get together and get out in the boat a little bit too.
Well, I'm going to hold you to something then. And I know Michael's sitting here waiting for me to ask it. One of the things we like to do is what we call Bucks Island Live. We do a 2-hour, no practice. You get in my boat. We put you in front of the camera. I'm standing on the trolling motor. We fish for 2 hours. Hope we catch something, but we talk. We share each other. Bucks Island Live. We've had as many as 30,000 people watching at one time. That was Clay Dyer. It's really, really extreme, but we'll take it. But Mike, we'd love to have you. And the next, after things cool, warm up a little bit in February, maybe.
Yep.
Before the show, we'll have you come out and do a Bucks Island Live with us. How's that?
Let's do it.
Love it.
Sounds good. We are at the end of another show. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this show, I think we're going to do four shows in December. So be looking for that. Check out social media, the Outdoor Showcase on Facebook, and then, as always, Amazon and Roku app, the Outdoor Showcase. Check it out. I'm Mike Delvisco. That's Dan O'Sullivan, Bucks Island. We will see you next time. See you then.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you.
You got it.